You know, it's important to keep the yard tidy, she remarked, her tone laced with an air of superiority. Tom looked up slowly from the small American flag he was reattaching to his mailbox. Afternoon, he said quietly, not offering more. Lisa, the quintessential busybody neighbor, often felt it was her duty to maintain the community's standards, and her judgmental attitude quickly became apparent. You really should take pride in your home, she insisted, oblivious to the internal battles he faced. Tom, still grappling with his transition from military life, chose silence over confrontation, hoping to avoid conflict. His experiences in combat have left him with invisible scars, making everyday interactions feel daunting. Lisa, a passionate community advocate, initially views Tom's struggles through a lens of misunderstanding, leading to a conflict that highlights the complexities of their lives. As tensions rise, Lisa's frustration stems from her desire to foster a harmonious community, while Tom's battle with PTSD creates barriers that seem insurmountable. Tom, a retired veteran, arrives at Maple Grove Lane with hopes of finding peace after years of service. The quiet atmosphere of this suburban neighborhood, with its tree-lined streets and friendly faces, offers a stark contrast to the chaos he experienced during his military career. As he settles into his new home, Tom dreams of a simple life filled with tranquility, where he can finally unwind and heal from the burdens of his past. However, the transition is not as seamless as he envisioned. The sounds of children playing and neighbors chatting, while comforting, often trigger memories he struggles to suppress. At night, the laughter drifting in from a nearby backyard barbecue might send him spiraling into the vivid echo of shouted commands and the crackle of gunfire. Tom longs for the camaraderie of his fellow soldiers, but finds himself feeling isolated in this seemingly idyllic setting. His neighbors seemed kind enough, but there was a barrier he couldn't cross, one forged in years of shared danger and loss they couldn't understand. Each day presents a new challenge as he navigates the complexities of civilian life, yearning for the peace he fought so hard to protect. Maple Grove Lane symbolizes hope for Tom, yet it also serves as a reminder of the battles he continues to face within himself, making his journey toward a simple, fulfilling life all the more poignant. The first confrontation between Tom and Lisa unfolded on a sunny afternoon as she tended to her garden, her keen eyes scanning the neighborhood for anything amiss. Spotting Tom sitting quietly on his porch, she approached with a bright smile, eager to introduce herself. He gave a tight nod and resumed his task, hoping she'd take the hint. However, Lisa misinterpreted his quiet demeanor as a sign of weakness, prompting her to press further. I just think a little effort goes a long way, she added with a forced chuckle, hands on her hips as if waiting for a reaction. The tension between them thickened as Tom felt the weight of her scrutiny, while Lisa remained unaware of the emotional turmoil behind his stoic facade. This initial clash set the stage for a deeper exploration of their contrasting perspectives and the misunderstandings that would follow. As days turned into weeks, Lisa's actions against Tom escalated, fueled by her relentless pursuit of what she deemed proper neighborhood standards. She began filing complaints with the Homeowners Association, HOA, citing alleged violations regarding his yard and the appearance of his home. One notice claimed his grass exceeded the acceptable length. Another criticized a wooden flagpole as a visual disruption. Tom stared at the notices, each one typed with meticulous precision and signed, "Sincerely, Lisa M. Caldwell, HOA President." Each notice was accompanied by accusations that painted Tom as a neglectful resident, further alienating him from the community. The impact of these accusations weighed heavily on Tom, who had already been struggling to adapt to civilian life. The whispers and judgmental glances from neighbors intensified, creating an atmosphere of hostility that he had never anticipated in his quest for peace. At the grocery store, A couple he once exchanged pleasantries with avoided his gaze. A jogger who used to wave now crossed the street to avoid passing in front of his house. The emotional toll of being targeted for his service became unbearable. The very sacrifices he made for his country now seemed to be met with disdain. One evening, he sat in his shed staring at a shadow box that held his Purple Heart in medals, his hands trembling. Tom felt trapped in a cycle of shame and isolation, as Lisa's actions not only undermined his efforts to reintegrate, but also deepened the scars of his past. This conflict highlighted the profound disconnect between his experiences as a veteran and the community's perception, leaving him to grapple with feelings of betrayal and loneliness. In the face of escalating tensions, Tom found solace in the camaraderie of fellow veterans who understood his struggles. It started with a phone call from Davis, an old friend from his unit. "Heard you're having trouble with the locals. Want some backup?" They rallied around him, forming a support network that became a lifeline during this challenging time. Recognizing the need to confront Lisa and defend Tom's honor, they devised a plan to hold a barbecue event in the neighborhood. This gathering would not only showcase the truth about Tom's character, but also foster a sense of community and understanding. As the veterans brainstormed, they envisioned an afternoon filled with laughter, stories, and shared experiences, aiming to bridge the gap between Tom and the residents of Maple Grove Lane. "It's not about proving anything," said Jenkins, another vet. "It's about showing them who you really are, who we are." The barbecue would serve as a platform to highlight the sacrifices made by veterans and the importance of community support in overcoming adversity. It was a chance to dispel the misconceptions surrounding Tom and to demonstrate that behind the silence lay a man deserving of respect and empathy. With each veteran committed to standing by Tom, the event symbolized hope, unity, and the power of coming together to uplift one another in the face of challenges. The barbecue event unfolded under a bright blue sky, filled with the aroma of grilled burgers and the sound of laughter echoing through Maple Grove Lane. The atmosphere was charged with camaraderie and support as the neighbors gathered to share food and stories, united in their desire to uplift Tom. Children played on the sidewalks, the scent of hickory smoke curling through the air. A folding table displayed photos of Tom in uniform, alongside a handwritten note that read, "Still serving, just in a different way." Among the attendees was Colonel Daniels, a respected figure in the veteran community whose presence lent an air of dignity to the occasion. His stories of service resonated deeply with both veterans and civilians alike, fostering a sense of understanding and respect. "I've seen courage in the battlefield," the colonel said, raising his voice just enough to quiet the gathering. "But what Tom's doing here, rebuilding himself in silence, is a different kind of courage." As the afternoon progressed, Tom felt the weight of isolation begin to lift, replaced by a growing sense of belonging. The event served as a powerful platform for truth and healing, allowing Tom to share his experiences and the challenges he faced after returning home. Neighbors listened intently, their perceptions shifting as they began to see the man behind the silence. This gathering not only celebrated Tom's journey, but also reinforced the importance of community support, illustrating how collective compassion can pave the way for healing and reconciliation. As the barbecue unfolded, Lisa became increasingly agitated, determined to undermine Tom's moment of triumph. She marched up the driveway, arms crossed, and snapped, "This wasn't approved by the HOA. You're in violation. Again." She launched a series of accusations, claiming that the gathering was a raucous party that violated neighborhood rules. With a sense of urgency, she attempted to disrupt the event, approaching guests with her grievances and urging them to leave. "Noise, smoke, non-resident guests. This is not what Maple Grove Lane is about," she hissed to anyone who would listen. However, her efforts backfired as the community began to rally around Tom, recognizing the sincerity of the gathering and the importance of supporting their neighbor. Whispers of solidarity spread among the attendees, and many openly challenged Lisa's attempts to sow discord. One neighbor, Mrs. Hernandez, stepped forward and said, "He's done more for this country than any of us ever have. Maybe it's time we gave him some peace." This marked a turning point in the conflict. The truth about Tom's character and the struggles he faced began to resonate with the community. As stories of his service and resilience were shared, the atmosphere shifted from one of tension to one of unity. Lisa's judgmental stance was increasingly seen as out of touch, and her attempts to undermine Tom only served to strengthen the bonds among the neighbors. In that moment, the community chose understanding over division, allowing the truth to prevail and paving the way for healing and reconciliation. In the aftermath of the barbecue, the conflict between Tom and Lisa reached a resolution that transformed the community. The return of Tom's shadow box, a cherished display of his military honors, symbolized not only his service but also the respect he deserved. He found it on his porch, carefully wrapped in a red, white, and blue towel. A sticky note attached read, "Thank you, Tom, a neighbor." This act of recognition marked a significant turning point as neighbors began to understand the depth of Tom's sacrifices and the challenges he faced. The community's perception shifted dramatically. They rallied around him, offering support and friendship that had previously been absent. Tom was invited to block parties, asked for advice on DIY projects, even offered a seat at the local HOA meeting, to be heard, not judged. Conversations blossomed and connections formed as residents sought to learn more about Tom's experiences. This newfound solidarity emphasized the importance of resilience and the power of standing up for truth. Tom's journey became a catalyst for change, inspiring others to confront their biases and foster a more inclusive environment. The conflict ultimately united the neighborhood, reinforcing the idea that understanding and compassion can triumph over judgment and division. As Tom embraced his place within the community, the bonds forged through adversity served as a reminder of the strength found in unity and the healing power of empathy. Tom's journey from a troubled veteran to a respected member of his suburban community illustrates the profound impact of understanding and support. Initially facing isolation and judgment from neighbors, Tom's struggles were compounded by Lisa's accusations. However, through the collective efforts of fellow veterans and the community, a barbecue event became a turning point, allowing the truth of Tom's character and sacrifices to shine through. The resolution of the conflict not only restored Tom's honor, but also fostered a newfound sense of unity among residents. It serves as a reminder that empathy can bridge divides and transform lives. We encourage you to engage with this inspiring narrative by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel for more uplifting stories. Thank you for watching Work Story, and see you in the next one.